Joining me now in our Washington studio is Peter Pham. He's the Vice President and Director of the Atlantic Council's Africa Center here in Washington. Peter, welcome to the program.
Asieh, good to be with you again.
So let me begin with the ANC's Executive Committee meeting. The meeting is still going on. If you had to guess what is going to happen, what kind of decision are they going to make, and will Zuma listen to whatever they have to say?
Well, you've summarized it neatly. First, they have to decide what they want to do. And here, I think the National Executive Committee, which is a small body, 6 people, and they're roughly evenly divided between people who supported Jacob Zuma and his ex-wife, who was his preferred candidate to succeed him, and Cyril Ramaphosa, the newly elected leader of the ANC, roughly divided. 3 and 3 virtually, by most hands. So it's but they're conflicted. On one hand, the longer Jacob Zuma stays on, the more damage he does to the ANC brand as they go into elections currently scheduled for next year. On the other hand, pushing him out also risks damaging fragile alliances within both the ruling party, the ANC, and its coalition partners, the Congress of South African Trade Unions and the Communist Party of South Africa. So very tough balancing act they're facing.
If you had to guess, will there be any kind of resolution within the next 24 hours?
I suspect that out of a sense of self-preservation, there will be a call for Jacob Zuma to step aside. Now, whether they can do that as the new president of the ANC, the deputy president, Cyril Ramaphosa, has called for him to do so with dignity, whether that can be managed or not really depends on Jacob Zuma.
Let me ask you a question about Ramaphosa. What do we know about this man? Also, he made a comment saying all this back and forth with the fate of Jacob Zuma is causing disunity and discord. What does he mean by that?
Well, first, Cyril Ramaphosa is a longtime activist, longtime leader of the opposition against apartheid, a campaigner for workers' rights as head of the Mine Workers Union. But then after liberation, after democratic rule came to South Africa, he went into business and he's one of the more successful African businessmen in South Africa today. And so he's viewed as also more pragmatic, more friendly to the business community. In fact, since this election to head the ANC, the rand, the local currency, has reached its best rates against the US dollar in several years.
How much support does Zuma still have in South Africa? And we should point out, while these accusations of corruption are hanging over his head, he has never officially been charged or tried, and he has denied these allegations.
Well, he's denied the allegations regarding corruption. He's been tried, of course, on various other offenses over the years, and largely managed to get away with most of them. Although the Constitutional Court, the highest court in South Africa, has reinstated some of them as recently as December. That being said, Zuma still enjoys a great deal. He's a wily politician. This is a man, we forget, a lot of people think of him in terms of the corruption, the state capture recent years, but this is a fellow who was also more than 10 years with Nelson Mandela on Robben Island. He was in exile for 15 years. He's a survivor and has deep reservoirs of support, especially in rural areas, which provide a lot of the ANC vote.
What will Zuma's departure mean for South Africa, and what will be his legacy, Peter?
Well, it depends on the terms under which he leaves. If he leaves with some remnant of dignity, that at least preserves a sense of order and democratic constitutional norms in South Africa. If he has to be pushed out, that's going to, as Cyril Ramaphosa has pointed out, will tear the ANC apart from within, possibly weaken it in the election that's due as early as this year, but most likely sometime in 2019. So I think it has a lot of implications. The manner in which he chooses to depart the stage will...
That's a good point. Very well, good point. Thank you so much, Peter Pham.